Good afternoon, citizens. I'm joined this afternoon by a dirty, scumbag, filthy Jedi.
I resent that.
More like you resemble that.
No comment.
Of course, you guys don't like conflict. I understand. It's okay. You're weak. We need to talk to you anyhow, though, for a few minutes. The video portion of this will be mostly informational when it comes to the topic we're discussing, in that I wanted to quickly discuss the differences between light side and dark side choices and their effects within the game, and how companions react to them, etc. Now, Farseer, tell people exactly what you played during your previous beta and how far you got through that.
Well, I was invited to one of the weekend betas, and my first character of choice was the Jedi Knight, because ever since Star Wars Old Republic has been announced, I've been always on for choosing a Jedi Knight over any other class. And so after choosing a Jedi Knight, I leveled him all the way up to level 16, I believe, and just got my spaceship. And between the start and then, there was a lot of decision making just within the first 16 levels.
Absolutely, those first two planets really give you a lot of time and a lot of availability to variance your character and actually put some hard choices into him.
Yeah, definitely. Even when you start on the Jedi's starter planet of their home planet of Tython, you have quite a few choices there which can, stray to the beginnings of the dark side for the Jedi, and basically you even have a lot of choices then. I think one example I remember was there's these two Jedi who are in love, and of course, as most may know, attachment such as love is forbidden within the Jedi, and so you get the choice whether to tell their masters that they are actually in love, or you could lie to them and get something out of it in return. I believe it was something like a lightsaber crystal. And so even then, that's just the beginnings of where you can choose, where your path's going to start out, just by, thinking, maybe I should bend the rules a bit to more of my way, or necessarily just follow the right, what the Jedi would consider the right path.
I assume you followed your silly little code and told the teachers on them, going to tattle like the little child you are.
Oh, I did, but my partner Zai at the time actually didn't. She wanted to lie, but out of the role of when we was in the group, I managed to win it, so they did get told.
Ouch.
Yeah, it's kind of, there are a few questionable things in the decisions of the actual game. There are some things which necessarily wouldn't be classified as, getting dark side points or being the darker decision of the two. One specific example I can remember, and an example that my friend has also given and agreed with me on, which is this Senate on Coruscant is trying to break the ties with the Jedi and join up with the Sith. Now, I know you would approve of this sort of thing, but in terms of the decision making, I'm sure you'll agree. You've got to steal this data from this droid to take to this girl who fights for the people, who represents the people of Coruscant and whatever, and is always out to do the right thing. By going to this droid, this man tries to stop you, who's like the servant of the Senate. And he basically tries to stop you and tries to bribe you, saying he'll give you some really old data instead, in exchange for just taking that to her instead. And by taking the bribe, you would have got light side points. But by getting the actual data to expose the Senate for trying to, link up with the Sith, you get dark side points. Now, the only possible way I can see you get dark side points on that is if you actually is by literally stealing the data. That's the only thing I can get the dark side from. But in the grand scheme of things, you're stopping a greater kind of evil. So overall, I don't think there should have been dark side points associated with that and light side points in accepting a bribe. It just seems a bit mixed up there, and so some decisions in the game like that are very questionable.
I remember the mission that you're talking about there, the gathering information one, and the way I felt it was described was, okay, the light side choice is allowing the debate to happen. You allow the debate to happen. You allow these people to present their opinions of joining the Imperials, and you let the debate continue in a completely balanced manner. Now, yes, they're debating something that's horrible, that's horrendous, but they simply want the option to debate it, which in and of itself isn't evil at all. They just want to present their opinions, and the dark side choice is taking the option of allowing them to state their opinions away from them, restricting their rights just because you feel you're correct.
It is also, I don't want to dwell on this one thing too much, but it is also the view of the Jedi that anything involving the Sith would be a really bad thing, and so to protect the Republic from itself, which in a lot of cases you have to do in a lot of decision making in the game, a lot of the time you've got to help them and lead them on the right path because so many stray off, even Jedi. In the view of the Jedi, it really is just for the better views of the Republic, the good for the trying to say it right, the good of the Republic, for their own good, really, to try and say, no, this is wrong. I'm going to do this thing for you. We should stay as we are. I can see where you're coming from, where you can say, yeah, it is kind of dark side points, but the Jedi, kind of putting a hand in, they don't interfere a lot with the actual Republic affairs. I don't know how close the Jedi and the Republic actually do mix with each other back in the Old Republic rather than compared to the future, but it's just, I suppose it's different on personal opinion. I suppose it's personal opinion at the end of the day.
If it was the Sith, if it was people arguing that they need to join with the Sith specifically, not just closer relations with the the Empire, you'd be perfectly right, because the Sith absolutely 100% destructive. The Imperials are more just lawful evil.
Indeed. There is also just on the on that kind of premise, that has been exclaimed in the game as well. If the Empire went to war with the Republic again right now because of the Treaty of Coruscant, that is the main asset as to why there is not a literal full-scale galactic war, the Republic would lose. It's even been exclaimed by the Republic themselves and everyone, because they're too weak right now, they're too disorganized. Even the Jedi are still trying to get together and get organized again, settle on Tython, on New Tython rather. So if they did decide that they thought, nah, let's just wipe the Republic out, the scary thing is the Empire could.
Moving on though, as people can see on the video right now, I know I'm not doing much on the video, but one thing people can see is that I have a good chunk of dark side points in this guy. Somewhere I got 100 light side points. I don't know where, I don't remember where. I really am not proud of that, but I have 100 light side points I got from somewhere. I am dark side 2. Now that conveys a couple things. First off, I can use dark side 2 weapons now. That's one big bonus you get for choosing either light side or dark side. You have certain weapons that are restricted to one specific version, alignment. Also, you'll notice that my face is kind of decayed and cracked a little bit, and you have that Sith corruption that you start to see visibly manifest. You can turn that off, of course, if you want, but I'd much rather leave it on. You don't get any kind of visible bonus for having light side points, do you?
I don't believe so, no. There isn't really, too much to the light side, which, physically shows in, or it's ever been recorded that something physically shows through you the lighter you are. I mean, perhaps in the Jedi senses. If you sensed energies, I suppose there would be a powerful aura of light energy or something. But to the naked eye, in a physical sense, I don't believe there's anything to the light side.
I didn't think there was, but I wanted to make sure. I hadn't heard of anything at all for light side stuff. But you do get the light side weapons as well. It's not just dark side that gets specialized weaponry. Have you noticed any of those specific alignment weaponry in your travels so far?
Not yet, no. Up to, obviously, as I said, up to level 16, I only just came out the second planet, which is Coruscant, and I haven't actually come across any alignment weapons yet, no.
I on my Imperial Agent, I ended up getting one that was bind on pick. I'm like, no, because it was a very, very nice Inquisitor saber that I could have used on Bishk. It's certainly interesting that they decided to make your alignment affect exactly what's going on and what weapons you can use. But what about your allies? You as a Jedi Knight got T7, your first companion character. How did he react to the different choices you were making?
I haven't actually had much feedback from that yet, from the droid. Obviously, you get affection points with what you do and whatever happens, but I think you need to go further on into the story in order to get like proper feedback or whatever. Right now, T7 as a droid, he just seems happy and cheerful and just happy to be along or whatever. The only thing I found out, a bit of a spoilers, nobody wants to hear. The only thing I found out is that he was the droid of the Jedi that we saw in the first cinematic on the attack on the Jedi Temple. The main Jedi that fights Malgus, he was his droid.
No, I thought that droid was the smugglers.
No. Apparently, when I spoke to him in the ship, he was that Jedi Masters from the Jedi Temple, and he said Darth Malgus killed him. And you can actually ask the droid if he knows where Malgus is, but he says he's got no data on where he is.
Interesting. As for myself, my first companion, Kemval, he generally likes when I do the lawful evil thing, or simply the I'm stronger than you thing, and obeys the dark side, and obeys the Sith code. There have been one or two times where he spit on that, and he actually slightly disliked when I took the dark side option in something, but 95% of the time he has said, okay, I'm going to give you approval points for going dark side. Sure, why not?
That also does remind me, the companion that you get, the second Jedi Knight companion that you get, is a Padawan. It's really kind of odd because she is a, how would I put it? She's a very
Loudmouth.
She is well, I suppose yes. Loudmouth is one thing. Another thing is that she doesn't seem like she has a lot of personality for a Jedi, whereas say many Jedi are completely emotionless, which I don't find. But she seems to stretch the boundaries of such a thing to quite a degree, where you think, wow, she could possibly be. I don't know if she could possibly be corrupted or easily corrupted, but she could easily overstep the line. So I think if you're not careful, if you just let her do whatever, she might actually stray off too far. So I think you do need to kind of be a bit of a firm master and, keep her on the right path.
Curious. I'm curious if we could have a corruption issue going on. That'd be tasty and delicious.
I didn't realize corruption was tasty and delicious.
Oh, come on. Dark side is tasty. Much like the cookies they give us. What other things have you noticed with, trying, at least I assume, you as being a goody-goody two-shoes, has tried to follow the Jedi code and tried to do the right thing. Any other things you've noticed with trying to follow that path and do the right thing?
Again, I don't think I've gone further enough into the game to see full-on effects of this. Obviously, as the more light side points you get, or in some cases dark side points, you do get new options open to you when it comes to dialogue, or rather choices. And there was one light side choice that come up so far in all of the quests that I've done, but I can't really recall it. But you know, sometimes when you have so many light or so many dark, there's a red option which is usually at the bottom, or a blue option which is at the top. So the blue option was unlocked for me, and I think I used it to try and calm a situation down. I think it actually was a Jedi mind trick, actually, because there's I remember it now. There was these bunch of Twi'leks, I believe, that were had to kill you and your droid for this he wasn't really a dark Jedi on the planet of Tython. He was just kind of misled on the wrong path, and you can use a Jedi mind trick to basically tell them to put their weapons down and just leave, basically just leave and just calm the situation down. Otherwise, I think if you didn't have that option, you just end up having to fight them all and actually kill them. So it's kind of good for diffusing situations, rather, and you really can't beat the Jedi mind trick. It's such an awesome way. It's such an awesome thing.
Now, one thing I've noticed with, you know, focusing on the dark side and focusing on the Sith code is your choices are relatively straightforward. It's pretty obvious what must be done to continue to follow the Sith code and to continue to follow your path to power. Is it pretty straightforward with the Jedi and with the light side methods, or is it a lot more convoluted, like you were talking about with one of the previous quests that we were discussing?
Overall, it's just very straightforward. Like I said, I've only come across the decision-making, you know, light side, dark side points once, and perhaps there's a lot more to come. I would expect there is. I think a lot more things would go even deeper, and there'll be a lot more twists, and there's a lot more things to unravel as you get to the higher levels, and that's what I'm looking forward to. But for now, I can't really say much, because I really don't know that much to kind of comment on it, really. You're afraid to talk about this stuff, aren't you? You know you've taken the Jedi options and the light side options far too much to admit to. No, I've taken them all. I think I've got 100 dark points to something like 600 light side points or something. And one of them was the questionable decisions. Actually, both were questionable decisions, which is the only reason why I got dark side points on them. But I have no regrets choosing light side points on many things. It's the way to go.
Well, unfortunately, you're wrong, but that's okay. You're a Jedi. You're just confused.
As you would have yourself believe, of course.
And all of our wonderful, fantastic listeners.
All, yes, of course. You know, you Sith, you're so egotistical as to believe such things. You'd lie to yourself and believe it.
Look who's talking. You guys go sit in your council chambers and have your huge sticks up your butts and talk about things that have nothing to do with the galaxy at large.
You have no knowledge of what to talk about.
That's a story for another day.
Indeed.
So, Farseer, where can people find your weak, pathetic Jedi stuff?
My weak, pathetic Jedi stuff?
I don't know. Do you ever talk about your Jedi stuff openly?
If anyone wants to, yes. I just don't have a place of origin right now, I suppose. I'm sure I'm going to be putting up, if it'll be allowed, and which I'm sure it is. I'm pretty sure I'll be updating myself with Machinima on my channel, which is Farseer117, which is on YouTube.
Okay, anything else you want to mention?
I'm starting up the Jedi Order.
Of course.
I'm starting up the I am. I'm starting up the Jedi Order, and basically that's going to be on RP PvE realm, which should be on the EU side. I don't know which realm yet, because obviously I don't know them all, but that's what's starting up. Not much else to say, really.
You and every other Jedi kitty on the planet. Oh, come on, you know it's true. Everyone's going to be trying to start the Jedi Order, or the Jedi Council, or the Jedi insert name here.
Well, I'd rather everyone just, come under one banner for the Jedi. I'd love to see, the Jedi guilds, and I'd also love to see military guilds just full of soldiers. That'd be awesome to see.
Okay, well, that being said, make sure you subscribe to this YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to Farseers as well. We're probably going to do one more set of videos from this weekend's beta. This is the last day of the beta. Thank you for joining us, and we'll look to see you next time.